Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 37 of Wildwood Zoo. In today's episode, I built the final habitat for this zoo, which is for the polar bear. There is a male and a female in here, and this is a very special episode because I've also going to announce my next zoo, or what it's going to be based about. So yeah, let's get into it. But just before that, if you leave a like and subscribe to my channel, that'd be great and it'll show your appreciation and make my zoos better and my habitats a whole lot more. Also in today's episode, I'm also going to do a few facts about the polar bear. I'm not going to do lots and lots like I usually do because this episode isn't that long of one, but I will definitely do another polar bear habitat in the future, so I will definitely go into more detail there and hopefully give you a little bit more information about the conservation efforts towards this animal, as it's a very damaged species because it's affected big time by climate change. So moving on with this habitat, I used these rock, like the number 7 rock, the one that's quite spiky, and turned it around, and it gave this lovely effect. I looked up lots of different landforms in Alaska for this one, so shout out to Alaska's Landscape for all the different tips and pictures they sent. It's very useful and it's definitely amazing. And I've given a name to the underwater area too. It is named Polar Plunge, like the one from San Diego Zoo. I think it's called San Diego. Yeah, I think San Diego Zoo is the one with the Polar Plunge. But it's definitely a good name and it's perfect for the great seal and polar bear. Luckily, this is quite a basic habitat. There wasn't much planting involved as it's relatively flat, so all I needed was some buffalo grass. The ones are a little bit dry, so it's not green, but it's just that little bit sort of tundra looking. It's a little bit Yellowstone grass, something like that. But yeah, it's just trying to create the contrast between the white bear to the sort of as dark, well not as dark, but as contrast as I can get, which would be the dry grass against the white polar bear. I've also used some snow at the back from the grey seal habitat. If you haven't seen that one, I added some snow at the back so the polar bears do have something to play in. I looked up a lot of polar bear habitats that have quite a lot of that snow gathered, like accumulated across. I think it's quite common in Richmond, particularly in warm areas. So I think it's the San Diego Zoo, they have their polar plunge. They've got a snow pile machine, so it will pump out snow and it slowly accumulates over the day, and the polar bears kind of play in it. Another big part of polar bear habitats is the amount of water. Polar bears are seen as semi-aquatic animals and they hunt a lot in the water. Well, they don't want to necessarily, but they do try to. It is their most successful method. So I wanted to make sure that they have plenty of space to swim around, which is why when I move on to the underwater area, you can see how much rocks are in there, as I wanted it to be quite rocky rather than like a plant fanatic like kelp forest, like I did in the grey seal habitat. Again, lots of rocks, lots of rocks. I wanted to keep it very rocky, make it feel like you know that the coastal defences, they've got a rock armour, it's called, and it's like a rock wall against the sea. I wanted that. That's quite common in Norway. I don't think it's common in Norway, but it's definitely common here in the UK, and we import all our rocks from the Norwegian coastline and mountains, which is quite interesting. Must cost a fortune, but hey ho, it protects our coasts. And moving on to some facts about the polar bear. Polar bears are native to the Arctic, which is basically the whole northern hemisphere. So you'll find them all the way from North America, all the way through Europe to Asia. They are closely related to brown bears and are known to interbreed. There are hybrids around, and they are known to be a grizzly polar hybrid, which is quite interesting. They're not. I think they're quite common in Russian zoos, them hybrids, but I haven't seen too many of them. Well, I haven't seen a polar bear myself, but I do know they're quite common. But the polar bears are also the largest extant species of bear and land carnivore in the world, with adult males weighing between 300 to 800 kg, which is 660 to 1700 pounds. Polar bears, as I said before, primarily eat in the water and also the surface, the ice. They kind of plummet through the ice and get it from underneath, which is quite very skilled, and I'm very surprised they do that. Which means they primarily eat seals. Seals are their main source of diet, as in captivity they don't have that much fat and they're often seen as skinnier, which is why people moaned about the Planet Zoo model, as it was seen as to be a more natural fat polar bear in that sense, where in captivity they're often a lot skinnier. And probably the most famous fact of all the polar bears is its fur, and its actual hair on it isn't white but rather hollow, and the skin beneath it's actually black, and this kind of helped to keep it warm during the cold Arctic seasons. They are known to hibernate, so it's definitely needed to have that and for them to build up the fat and kind of keep themselves nice and warm in the cold season. Also, the polar bear does face many threats, the obvious one being climate change, where they are threatened by the tundras and the ice melting, where they find it more difficult to hunt for their food, and it obviously causes more of them to sadly die and not rear up their cubs as effectively. So, talking about the future of this channel, my next episode will be a tour of Wildwood Zoo. So, this will be a tour of the tundra area, and I'll also do a full tour of the zoo, just so I have one of each. I might, in fact, just skip the tundra area as it's not really needed. I can go through longer on the full tour. And also about the next series coming up, it's going to be a little bit of storytelling. I won't tell you the biome, but depending on where the next DLC will head, will probably depend on what sort of theming I'm going to do. So we'll see what the next DLC is coming out. I know it's kind of been not announced, but semi-announced that there is a new pack coming in the next Frontier Unlocked. So I will definitely see where that tells us, and I will start right away to try and set up for those animals and build for them. But yeah, I will see you on the next one, and see you then. Bye!